I just want to say this. There is no substitute for winning. We must win. We will win. Win is the name of the game.
Dallas Cowboys fans, let's get ready to rumble!
We got a job to do, and we're going to do it, baby!
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Cowboys, a series of episodes of Set Listing Bruce, where we talk about your Dallas Cowboys. I am one of your hosts, Jesse Jackson. Joining me in the film room, as always, is
Mr. Colin Bernier.
And
your boy CJ.
All right, so guys, hey, we made it to a second episode. That's got to be something.
Yeah,
who would have thought that?
Exactly. All right, so it's easy to be disappointed with the loss. When you think about it, we did okay against Philly. We did beat ourselves. Bottom line is Cooper Rush got us kind of afloat and actually doing well. We're going to be tough in the division because Philly does have a pretty good lead. But if you had told us after game one that we'd be 4-2, we'd go, oh, really? How did the hell did that happen? All right, so let's start you with Colin. What are your thoughts about the Philly game?
Oof. It was a rough one. Everything I said was basically completely opposite. So that was fun to watch. Like the first interception, I was just like, why did I say that? Eagles are a good team. So we lost to a good team. It's rough that it's a divisional game and they're flying high right now. But Dak coming back, I think there's a lot of upside to the Cowboys still. Dak coming back is a good thing, but again, the wide receivers, I have not seen what I expected out of the receivers this year.
It's really hard because I tend to not want to talk bad about people by nature, but CeeDee Lamb is just not living up to, I'm not saying he's a bad receiver, but he isn't that. And I keep thinking about how bad we were, and then when we got Amari Cooper, and it seemed like we flipped the dish around. And I don't know the story. I know, there was issues with everything, but we got nothing for him, and it seemed like he worked well in this offense. Chris, how about you? Philly thoughts?
Like Colin, I was laughing. And I even told my dad before the game, I just had a feeling like, oh no, this ain't going to be good. But he did a good job over those 4 games. And like you said, we're still 4-2. We're going to see him again. Typically when this type of situation, we do beat them at their place, but we have also gotten them back. Like, okay, y'all embarrassed us, but okay. It's almost like they maybe celebrate a little too early, for lack of a better term. I thought the run game was really good. Pollard had 11 carries for 44. Elliott had 13 for 81 and a touchdown. That long touchdown that you saw, not 2016, you could still see that but that is what we have now. I was telling during the game, Pollard just jumps off the screen though. He does when you give him the football.
Yeah, just the kind of note, he always goes, that's Colin's boy!
I do.
Colin's screaming at his house, happy.
I was very disappointed in the penalties. I think we had 10. And the thing that is costly. It was very costly. The one, I even said, okay, it's going to be the end of the first quarter. Let me go make my sandwich. And I said, just, don't jump off sides. And I heard the flag, and Dad was like, are you kidding me? And then the taunting penalty from Parsons, whatever you care about the rule, you can't do that.
Yeah.
And that, again, gave them a first down, and that's just back crushing. I think one of them was a field goal.
Yeah, you're right. Forget everything else. Those 2 penalties, and I don't know if it would mean we'd win the game, but they're dumb penalties. As low as a football IQ as I have, don't jump off. The odds are they're going to call timeout. And if they don't, okay, if they make a play, they make a play. I remember back when you were playing Little League, coach would say, I'm going to have you run. I'm going to have you aggressively run the bases, and if they make a play, I'm going to make them make a play to get you out. And if they throw the ball and catch it and tag you out, good for them. And that's it. I'm going to make you make a play. I'm not going to give you a free 5 yards. And then, Parsons, I don't care how you are, walk away, and then, I showed him. Anyway, very disappointing.
Colin, I want to get your thoughts too. I understand this is the most physical game, right? And it's like you can't put your emotions like that. But I understand also too that could cause a rift, and so the referees immediately, because there was a fight at the end of the game.
Yeah.
I think one other thing that we got was the tight ends. Ferguson. I rewatched the game. That almost like a rebound when you get it. Don't bring it down. Keep it up. He caught it. Took it to the end zone. I thought the tight ends was a really big kind of, that was a really plus because Schultz has been out and I was like, who's this guy?
Right.
And I don't remember the other guy, but the tight ends looked pretty good. What did you think though, Colin, about the defense? This was the most points they've given up this year. I want to hear what you thought. The one thing I got is the ground game scares me.
Ground game is scary.
Or our defense against the ground game.
Yeah, I mean, the defense is good. It's a good defense. They can get exposed through the air too. I mean, they can get exposed, but I think the Eagles are a good team. I can't count out that they have a really good offense. And leading into our next point, so do the team we play this week.
Yeah, I think though that you could see they were creative. It wasn't Pizza Boy's offense. And I know he gets a bad rap, but it was so creative. They made Parsons decide. Are you going to get the running back or are you going to get the quarterback? And that play is almost like the pick and roll sometimes where you just can't, like, whatever you do, you can't stop it. I do believe our boy DQ, defensive coordinator, will have something to say about that. I believe that we have really made adjustments. And then I think that defense, Doomsday 3, hopefully, knock on wood, just kidding out there, they take pride. I think that they want to be better against the run. I don't know how we can get better against the run, though, because for a long time now, it feels like that is kind of our Achilles heel. If you want to beat the Cowboys, run the ball on them. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I do think that we're going to have to worry about that. You had brought that up, that statistically we're pretty high in the rankings on the passing, pretty mediocre on the running. So it's like adjusting bathwater, right? Like, oh, now it's too hot, now it's too cold. What do we do back and forth to kind of find that middle ground? So I do believe in Dan Quinn, DQ. Parsons, and let's not forget, this is his sophomore season. So it is, even though, he's played college ball, this is the NFL. It's very different. He will learn and he will grow. And I think there is a lot to be said. There is a lot of upside on the defense. All right, so this week we get Dak back.
One other thing
Yes.
from the game, and then we'll put a bow on it. What did y'all think about talk about CeeDee Lamb, the third down where he reached for it, got the first down. One referee spotted a first down. The senior referee said it was 4th and 1. What did y'all think about kind of going for it? Because we were in turbo is what Big Mike said, and that we already had it called. Don't you think someone in the headset is saying, hold on a second, maybe we should challenge it? Or what do you guys think about that? I mean, in the play call, it was a bootleg pass. Like, it wasn't even a quick quarterback sneak or a run. It was just a real kind of scratch your head moment for old Big Mike.
I don't think Big Mike is good in those situations. As a head coach, that was his problem in Green Bay. I think it followed him here. I've never really trusted him in those situations. I think ultimately Pizza Boy probably had a hand in the actual play call, but I think mistakes lost that game for the Cowboys. It was the mistakes, it was the penalties, it was the costly interceptions, it was bad timing on all of those things. On that play, just bad timing.
Yeah, because remember, we were down 20-0, and we came back 17-20. Now, they had that really big boy drive, and it was 13 plays or something like that. Took a chunk off. And I remember Dad and I were watching the game, and I said, Philly JW and Philly CJ is saying, don't run a pass play until they've showed you they can stop a run. Keep running the football. And they did. I think almost every play there was. And they're just a good darn team. And
Yeah,
we're going to see them, though, again on Christmas Eve.
Yeah, I do. And in business, they often say that making a decision quickly and executing it is sometimes more important than the actual decision you made. So this is one of those things where it's almost the definition of Monday morning quarterbacking. Well, God, we ended up getting it. My biggest concern, and they talked about this on the radio, McCartney said, well, I asked, and the ref said, no, you didn't get it. Well, of course that's what they're going to say. They're the one that did that. I don't know. It's quick, it's fast, and you wonder. To me, think it was close enough that this is the time you do call a timeout. And then go, okay, let's have it. I'm going to call for the chains. I'm going to have them check the spot, right? The old day where they used to do, and they'd go,
It's real dramatic and everything.
Dramatic thing. And then even if we don't get it, then now the downside is the defense has time to set up. But you can say, okay, we've got this within 6 inches. We've got this in a foot. What play are we going to do? Now, we do not have the rugby play in our arsenal that Philly does.
How do you stop that?
Would it have been different if Rush was not quarterback at the time, too? Would the play call have been the same if Dak was under center?
I don't know.
I would say no, but we don't. That's a great point. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, with Dak, because he's been in those situations, Rush hasn't. Is that going to take him out of the game if I call a timeout and we're looking up at the booth and this and that? You don't know.
But I do, after the game, I was working on something on the computer or doing something, and Chris came to me and said, if it wasn't for the mistakes, we would have been a lot closer in this game. So they're a good team, but in a lot of ways we beat ourselves. And I think that's the right attitude to have. They're so good, we're going to have to play as close to a perfect game as possible to beat them. And if we don't play a perfect game, we're going to lose. They're too good.
That is a great way to put it.
Yeah, when you play great games, you can't, and Jimmy Johnson used to talk about that, right? Don't lose the game. All right, so Detroit, with no Matthew Stafford anymore, it's a new era in Detroit. Historically, they have not been a good franchise. They are like the Cowboys. They are our Thanksgiving brothers, the other team that plays every Thanksgiving.
Or sisters.
Yes.
Indeed.
Siblings, I guess,
Indeed.
to be, yes, to do gender neutral. So, Chris, we'll start with you. Thoughts on playing the Lions? We get Tony Romo.
We do. We get, Jim. Actually, I'm going to defer to Colin first. I like him going first.
So, okay, just so you can do more research. Okay, over here.
Chris
Twitter
is staring at his
here.
phone.
I wanted to get the spread.
No, so the Lions, when I looked at the Lions, so I'm like, okay, who are we playing next? Throughout the week, I looked at it, and I'm like, the Lions, they're terrible. Lions are terrible again, like they have been for seasons. They've had some good ones lately, but then I looked at the games they've played, and besides the first game against the Patriots, they've been in every game that they played. They've lost by like 3 points in a ton of those close games against good teams. Against the Eagles, they lost by 3 in a shootout. I mean, they've been in shootouts with everybody, so they have offense. That's scary because the things we've just talked about, the defense, the issues, again, a lot of upside with it, but I think this is a big game. Of course, they're all big games. We say it every single week. But I think this game, they are a pretty evenly matched team, even though the records don't say it, because we could be 1-4 right now, just like them. So we're pretty evenly matched teams. I think this is going to say a lot about who the Cowboys are the rest of the season.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts? Do you think Dak will have rust?
No, because he's been here so much, he's been hurt so many times that you hate to say it, but that's just what the game is. And the game's a rough game. You're going to get hurt. So I think he comes back, and I think he has a really good game. I think he has something to prove, too. He's heard people talk about, oh, Rush is better than he is and this and that. I've said, hey, leave, if he keeps winning, leave him in.
Yeah, hot hand, yeah.
But, I mean, I do think he's going to come out with a statement game or not. But I that's my hope, is that he comes out with a statement game to show, hey, I'm back.
All right, Chris?
For Norm out there, the line is Dallas is favored by 6.5. The over-under is 49. We can get to that during predictions. For me, just kind of listening to the ticket this week, Detroit's got kind of one of the worst defenses in the leagues. They're the worst on points. They give up the most at 35. They do 5.5 rush yards per attempt, so hopefully we can run the ball with Pollard and Zeke. Their defense has only gotten 7 sacks. So if we can protect Prescott, that will make him feel comfortable coming back in there. I want to say that there's not going to be rust because we saw last year, Junior Miller said that on the ticket, we saw last year after he broke his ankle and he came back week 1, had one of his best games against Tampa. I do actually think he's going to have some rust. I think it's going to be one of those weird 12 o'clock games that were never on primetime. We're normally on primetime. This is an early game. I think it's going to be ugly early. I can see, unfortunately, a fumble, a turnover, a boneheaded play that's going to keep them in the game. And we saw on Hard Knocks, and like Colin said, besides, New England? They got their butts kicked. But besides that, they've been in every single game. They fight hard. Dan Campbell's got them boys believing in themselves. Everyone and their mother loves to come to Texas Stadium and outshine the Cowboys. We've seen it 1,000 times. I hopefully just don't want the team to take them lightly. They're coming off a bye week, so they had 2 weeks to prepare. They got their butts kicked, and they're coming off a bye week. I think it's good for the Cowboys, though, that we lost. Now, if we would have won that game with Rush, can you imagine people would have been doing the parade route? So this week, they've kind of, maybe they got to pay half price now instead of their full tabs taken care of. But I'm worried about that. But we'll have our opportunities. Their defense is not that good. Now, I could say that our offense has kind of not been that good. Dak Prescott really missed, it's only been one game, but I think he's really going to miss Amari Cooper.
Yeah, I do too.
He was a safety net out there. CeeDee Lamb misses Amari Cooper. And to your credit, we got a 6th round pick?
Yeah, I don't
One of the
remember
things that we did not talk about in the Philly game was Turpin in the return game. He had one that counted and he had one that got held back. You could say that maybe that the penalty he would have got tackled, but he jumps off the screen. I would love for us to kind of get good field position. Make it easier for Prescott. Not that he has to go, pass it 35 times. I'd love for him to pass it 22, 25 times and we just run the football and get out of there with a win.
But that's why I think he's not going to have the rust on him, or it's not going to show, because we're going to come out in the run game. We're going to come out, run it 6 yards, because that's what they give up. And then he can have a quick 15 yards, get him back in his flow. I don't think it's going to be a Dak heavy day. It doesn't have to be that, because that defense is bad. And what I'm hoping is, I think our defense is obviously better than their defense. And I think their offense is probably better than our offense right now, so far this year. But I think the difference is our offense is still a good offense, and their defense is just terrible.
So I do think that I hope that this formula that we've had to get 4-2, they continue. And a conservative offense that when they give you a chance for a big play, you take it, but it's okay to just move the ball. And, as much as I don't like Skip Bayless as a person anymore, and also kind of he's almost become a caricature, one of the things he did during the Super Bowl era in his columns, he called it Aikman-Turner Overdrive, which was, Aikman, Emmett, with Norv Turner calling the ball, just churned through time and ate up. And so the defense had plenty of time to sit there on the side. And then the same thing that happened to us against Philly, when they did that 7 or 8 minute drive, and this sounds so childish, but it's true. You can't score if they have the ball. It is so, all of a sudden, I don't care how good you are. You could be the old Rams, greatest show on turf. But if you don't have the ball, you can't score. So hopefully we can do that. Now, as the moment I say that, it never fails. They'll do a quick bomb and they'll score in a minute and a half, and I'll go, or you could do that. But that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we get a lot of that. I love that when Pollard, Ezekiel, Elliott get a lot of runs, they do a lot of working, and it keeps the defense kind of on their heels. So that's what my hope is.
One thing on Pollard is he actually has Dallas's 3 longest plays from scrimmage via ESPN. One thing to look at, and this is just, I want to get your thoughts. This is just the eye test. This is just, I've watched football for a while. Jared Goff, if he's got time and he's comfortable, he can throw the football. But he's also, if you get him rattled, he will give you some turnovers.
Yes, he will.
Cowboys have the most sacks this year. I think it's at 25.
Yeah.
So if we could get to him early, maybe the crowd could get into it a little bit. We're not going to have the sun problem because it's an early game. I think that we could get them rattled and that we could get a turnover. And then maybe we could get a defensive score or, again, put us in a really, short field to where we don't ask them to do too much. And then I really hope that we take, like you said, Dad, take the formula that has been working. Run the ball, play defense, and I do, though, think we can go a little bit more downfield. Cooper always was kind of in the middle, didn't really go. Prescott will take a couple more chances. Hopefully our boy Gallup can come and maybe make a play or two. He's been a little quiet recently. But just from the eye test, Colin, and just kind of from the gut, Jared Goff, what do you...
I mean, Jared Goff's a player. But exactly like you said, he can thread the needle and get it there if he has time, if the run game is working for him, if his defense is playing good like he did with the Rams. Or, like he did with the Rams and like he's done in Detroit, he can get really shaky. And I think the Cowboys' defense is made to make somebody feel shaky early. So I hope your prediction with early fumbles and a S show at the beginning of the game is correct, but it's on their side. And the Cowboys' defense, Parsons can get in there, Lawrence can get in there and disrupt things early, get a turnover like they did against the Rams.
Correct.
And make that statement early. Then exactly what JW was talking about, time management the rest of the game, taking care of the clock, having those long drives, because keeping our defense fresh and off the field also goes along with keeping their offense cold and off the field. So those teams being off the field, that's only going to help.
I would like to think that Parson and Lawrence and everyone else will be hungry. Like, okay, we didn't do as well last week, so let's kind of refresh. I do think way back in the day when Chris Jackson was playing basketball with St. Monica, Tom Weiler was his coach, along with Mark Chevalier. Shout out to two great guys.
What's up, Coach?
Would always hate in a tournament when they had an early game. He's like, they're still sleeping. Yep. So I do think every once in a while you catch that with a noon start because, the Cowboys play such a diverse schedule and they don't, because they'll want them on primetime or they'll do things. So I'll see.
Hey, our boy UK Mark, this is his favorite, right?
Yes, UK Mark
because of the time difference, our boy UK Mark, he loves 12 o'clock because I think it's like 7 or 8 his time.
Yeah, so it is. It's 6 p.m. He's very happy with that.
Shout out.
Jada, before we do our predictions, one thing I really liked on the ticket, and you brought it up, and I'm reading this off ESPN. This is from Parsons this week. He's talking about the Eagles game. Maybe it's something that I could have done better. Maybe it's something someone else could have done better, or we all could have done better. That's the beauty of it. You get to prove it and show what we learned. I think his leadership is really, really, you can see it. The way he talks on the ticket during the tickers, I think he was supposed to do kind of Skip and Shannon show. He decided not to do that, focus on football. I really think he's got a great presence in there. Prescott's been there as well too, but there's a difference between playing and just being there. Now he's in the huddle. I'm excited to see how the team looks. This is going to tell us a lot about this season.
I think so too.
And a lot about the teams that we played. Were they good
Yeah.
or were we good?
Right.
All right.
Was it just a division game? So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna put you on the spot. You got to go first, Chris.
Okay.
Predictions.
I am gonna say that.
For
Go
the,
ahead.
The
Okay.
ESPN analytics give it 83%, 83.1 to the Cowboys,
Okay.
winning 16.7 for the Lions.
Wow.
Just
Okay.
so
All right.
you know, the
That
people
thing's-
that
all
do
right.
this for a living.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're seeing a Cowboys win. The line is 6.5.
And,
that-
and the over-under is 49.
I would take they're averaging 35 giving up, but our offense hasn't really shown to be. This could be a breakout game though, right? And everyone
be.
is just loving life. If Hansen was still on there, I'd love to see
Yeah.
that. For me, I would say go with the Cowboys in 24-21.
Okay. So you think it's gonna be a close one?
I do.
Okay. All right.
But if I was in Vegas, I would take the Cowboys or I would take the Cowboys over the points. But so Vegas, I'm taking the Cowboys plus the points. Makes no sense. My other pick from my heart, though, I think it's going to be a game that we pull out because we should beat the Lions.
Okay.
But they're a tough team coming off the bye. I think it's going to be a lot harder than people are thinking.
All right.
Oh,
Colin?
yeah. I definitely think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be another shootout, though. I think it's going to be in the 30s. I think the Cowboys are going to show out offensively. Hopefully, we can keep their offense in check. I think they will. But I think the Cowboys are going to go crazy this week.
One name to watch out for is Swift. I haven't watched Detroit. I know that boy Swift
DeAndre Swift
is a beast. Thank you.
Crazy. He went crazy last week. He had like 140 yards or something. And like 2 touchdowns. I'm saying
Go Vegas in your heart.
Vegas, I'm going over 49.
Okay.
I'm taking Cowboys.
Plus the points.
Yeah.
And then your heart and a score.
Heart, I'm still taking Cowboys in the points. I'm going over. I'm going 34-30.
Close game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cowboys
So-
defense gives up 30.
So I'm going to be the outlier. I will definitely take the Cowboys in the points in Vegas. I think we will under, and I think we're going to do 27-10. I think that our defense is going to step up and stop Detroit from scoring.
Let's
That
hope you're right.
Yeah,
That'd be a happy Cowboys Sunday.
It would be a very happy Cowboy Sunday. All right, real quick, this was not on the agenda, but I know you, especially Colin, love baseball. Bruce Bochy being hired by the Rangers as a manager. Any thoughts?
I don't know a ton about the guy, so all I know is what I've recently seen. I don't have a lot of hope for the Rangers,
Right.
personally. I went to a game last season. It was depressing.
Yeah.
I sat right over, shout out to Mason, gave me some free tickets. I sat right over where they were warming up, the Rangers
Bullpen.
pitching. And
Scoreboard.
yeah, it was just deplorable. It was, I don't really have
That park
any
is
hope.
so nice.
Oh, it's great.
There's
great,
been more
great
post,
baseball
There's been
stadium.
a lot of postseason games. Just the Rangers haven't played any.
Yeah, exactly.
Great baseball stadium. I don't have a lot of hope for the Rangers. I apologize for that. And I'm still crushed about the Braves, so I think I'm just mad at all
mad
this.
at
That's what I wanted to get your thoughts
I'm
on.
real upset still. It hurts.
We didn't watch the game. What was the problem?
Phillies were better than their record said. They're always an Achilles heel to the Braves.
Gotcha.
They're in the division. It's just like the Eagles. It's just, I hate the Eagles. I hate the Phillies. Shout out. Y'all got your W's. Congratulations. Shout out Philly. But yeah, they're always a thorn in our side. And the Braves just didn't come to play. Freddie Freeman was a big piece of that team. He was the centerpiece. He'd been there for almost a decade. So when you lose a piece like that, they played really good, though, regular season, but when it came to the offseason, they turned into the
I was
Cowboys,
talking to one of my
so
friends
it's
yesterday. Shout out Patrick. Shout out RJ. RIP, my boy.
Mm-hmm.
I said our boy RJ, he would have been upset, but he also would have said, hey, we won last year.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of that. I will say I haven't watched one pitch but I was glad to see the Dodgers lost. Not really because I don't dislike them, but they're always one of the teams that has the best record and they fall in the first round. I still think it's weird that they do 5 games. I think that in baseball is just so random that 5 games is and then I thought it was unfair that the Yankees won their series and then had to play the Astros the next night.
Yeah.
And they're down 2-0. Shout out to all the Astro fans. I cannot get with it, but
I'm
shout out to that.
Yeah, I'm pulling for San Diego
I never thought
just
I'd go for
because
the
of
Yankees.
Darvish. Because of Darvish.
Yeah.
You know, you Darvish.
Shout out
Padres.
to Darvish.
I saw that he actually on the
Padres,
stat
yeah.
line that he had a good game the other night.
Yeah.
And the Padres have not had some great seasons. Shout
Right.
out to them. Astros have had your years. You cheated. You bang on drums and stuff. That's
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
And the Yankees go away for like a decade.
Right.
Dodgers go away for 2 decades. Shout out to the
So I'm bitter because of the way the couple things that I'm upset about Rangers. One, socially, they're the only major league team that has never had that doesn't have a gay pride day. Every other team does this, and the Rangers haven't.
Do we know why?
I assume because they're conservative white Texans. I don't know.
If you look at the games, no one's there anyway.
Right. So wouldn't you
Rimshot.
do that to do like, oh, hey, let's do a good day, and it's the right thing to do. Secondly, because of their TV contract, I can't watch them unless I go specifically buy, and it's with my cable system, I can't buy the Bally's, so I end up not watching any games. And used to be when they were on Fox Southwest, I would have the game on a lot during the summer. I just would, you know how when you're doing a DVR, you have it on a channel. I would have that, then I would watch something in DVR, and then when I finished, go, ooh, that looks good, and I would rewind or do something, so I would watch a little bit more. We're in the 8th inning, let me watch the end. This guy has won 3 World Series, one against the Rangers. He's 67, and he says he wants to be here. This is the best manager hire in the 50 years of the Rangers. I'm reading like Kevin Sherrington's column today on the Dallas Morning News. He said, it doesn't make any sense how Chris Young was able to sell him to come here. But he said he's the best salesman since Ebby Holiday, which is a very Dallas centric joke. So I kind of get the same feeling when we hired Parcells for the Cowboys. Like, this guy's done it, and he wants to come here. Now, of course, we knew how it ended with Bill, but
Romo
Indeed.
fumbled snap
Yeah.
in Seattle.
yeah, so I'm excited about that.
What team was he? He's not La Russa. So who did we lose to the first year in the Rangers?
He managed the Giants. He won 3 World Series.
Oh, really? That guy?
Yeah.
Cool. Because I was like, you wanted to ask because they were saying, what's your first thoughts on who blah, blah, blah. I'm like, who's blah, blah, blah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like,
I have no idea who he is. So he's a big time, so this is a big time hire.
Yes.
Well,
yes.
that's good
He has
then.
won 3 World
That
Series.
could be a culture
Yeah.
change.
Yeah.
I like you said, I love that you brought up Bill Parcells because that's how I feel when people, and maybe I'm tainted from Bill Parcells coming in, but whenever somebody's had success, they've done it, and then they're excited about coming to a place, it always kind of scares me. Like, okay, are you on your last leg? Did it stop working and you're still trying to push that? Is that what the issue? I have no idea.
That's fascinating.
I don't know enough about him or how he manages to give.
Are you thinking like it's a
any
money
insight
grab?
on that? I don't know.
Gotcha.
We do know-
That's fascinating.
There's always, but you know me, I'm always looking.
True. Very true. No, that's
what
fascinating,
are you
though.
trying
I like
to get
that.
over
Well,
on me?
and-
So
I never thought about that.
The paper talked about that probably he will be paid more in 1 year than Chris Woodard made his whole 3 years here.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is not going to come out of retirement. He'd been retired about 3 years. He wasn't going to come back cheap. And so I think it's worth saying that, you know, he's got skins on the wall. He seems to be energetic. He's saying the right things. He said, I was not going to come back unless it was the right situation, and I feel like this is the right situation. So we want to go, okay, are you bringing a couple of starters and a good left-handed bat on this? But
I like the Bill Parcells analogy though, because he came to 3, 5, and 11 teams, and we had two guys that had over 20 home runs, maybe 25, and we had how many losses? That's pitching.
Yeah, and so we'll see. And the hope is that the Rangers owners say, okay, you know what? I've got money I'm willing to spend. We now have you don't have to play in the heat. You have no state income tax. We have a big time manager, and we're willing the new park, and we're gonna money whip you, and let's see what we can do. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, I want to get y'all's thoughts since we're going roundtable. Mavericks. Mavericks season just started the other night. I don't know if you guys caught the Suns game or caught the highlights. It was a 9 o'clock start. It was on ESPN, but I'm with you. We're going to have to split Bally's because I want to watch Luka. The Mavericks were up 20 points in that game, lost the lead. Then they were up 15, lost the lead. They lost 107-105 first game. Christian Wood had 16 consecutive points at one point, and he was the new acquisition we got from Houston. So I just want to get your thoughts real quick at the end for the Mavericks season.
So I think when you have Luka, which we, thank goodness, thank the basketball gods.
Donnie Nelson.
Thank you, basketball Santa, for getting us that. I really want Wood to be good. I just really, because it seems so often that people S-word anytime you make a deal, and so I really hope he's good. I hope Dinwiddie is good. I hope that everyone has a good season. I do have realistic expectations. The West is really, really good. Mm-hmm. So last year we made the finals, and then so I am not going to measure this as, if we don't make the finals, we took a step back. No, we could make 2 or 3 steps forward and still lose in the second round of the playoffs because everyone's just that good. So I'm definitely predicting 4th, maybe 4th seed, probably 5th or 6th, and see what we do. I do love the noise that there's a lot of preseason hype that Luka will win the MVP, and that would make me very happy.
He did come into camp in shape because he played this summer. Yeah. Because the past 2 years he's been the Vegas MVP preseason favorite. Yeah. He's come in out of shape
with a little too many burgers and beer.
I think it's also exactly. He's overblown as well too. I think though that him playing this summer, I remember watching and being like, yes, that's good. Yeah. We got JaVale McGee, who I remember on 2K was just a beast because he's so big, he's so long. I think that could help us out a little bit, but you don't know what you're gonna. Remember, he's Shaqtin' a Fool guy. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna say that I'm disappointed, but if we don't make it to the conference finals, I do kind of take it as a step back because you do have Luka, and then what are we doing? Hopefully, Christian Wood, Hardaway's coming back. I know that he is a streaky shooter, but he can really, really go. You almost want to put him in the starting lineup and take Dinwiddie off and do 6-man because he really flourished in that role last year.
I mean, we can talk about JaVale McGee. Shaq can talk about JaVale McGee on Shaqtin' the Fool, but JaVale McGee has 3 rings. So put some respect on his name. He's coming into a really good team. This team, it's changed a little bit. I think Luka, Hot Sports opinion, might be the MVP this year.
Man, that's a Hot Sports opinion.
Everybody's saying it. It is what it is. But the kid is good and he's getting better. And he is coming into the season in shape, hot off of playing every day, doing what you're supposed to do. The guy's coming in hot. I think the Mavs are going to be really good. I think it's going to be mid-season. Like, we need to go to All-Star break before we even start to really collaborate as a team. Second half of that, the Mavs are going to take off, I think. That's my opinion. I think if they don't make it to the conference finals, it isn't a step back. I agree with JW on that. I get what you're saying, but I do also think that the West is so crazy that it was crazy for us to even get there last year. So it isn't a step back, but I do think they will be there and they will be in the finals again.
All right. So quick wrap up. A lot of you downloaded this episode, last week's episode, so thank you. Please let us know what you think. I am at Jesse Jackson DFW on Twitter. The show is at SetListingBruce. SetListingBruce@gmail.com. Send me thoughts. We're going to try to do this every week, mostly because it's an excuse for Chris and Colin to shoot the breeze with Papa J. And so we appreciate you listening. Go Cowboys.
Shout out Junes. What's up, Soltero Lopez?
Maker's Mark. We're looking for sponsors.
Thank you very much. We did it our way, baby. We did it. We did it.